Hi, Mike.
Hi, Coach.
Hello.
Any injury updates to start with, I guess?
Yeah, DJ's in the concussion protocol. Besides that, we got out pretty clean.
And offensively, is this, maybe some of the struggles just about new system for Russ, kind of a new system, you guys working together for however long it's been, and it's just going to take time?
Yeah, I think, when you look at it, you look at Russell's been in one place for his whole career. And then he comes here, he's got new coaching staff, new city, new fans, new press, new system, new people that he's going out there and playing with. So it's not as easy as just going out there with anybody and playing ball. And so I think that we're all working through all kinds of things. I'm working through things with him on making sure I'm calling the proper plays for him, that the players are running the right routes, and it just kind of goes, it's just that whole thing, just everybody working together. And there's been some good and there's been some bad, and we just got to make sure we have more good than bad as we continue to move forward.
Coach, when you look back at the defense, 6 points allowed in second halves this year, second in the league in scoring defense. As you kind of look back at the last 3 weeks, what have you seen from them, and how have they maybe exceeded your own expectations coming into the year?
Those guys play so well together. They've been in a familiar system together, so which is always great. And then there's a couple new wrinkles that have been thrown in there, and I think it's just great to see them all fit off of each other and communicate and talk, especially when the crowd's loud. I mean, to be able to get that communication done is huge, and even with Justin Simmons not there, all those guys are working so well. I give so much credit to Ejero, CP, Marcus, Bert, Pete, Dom, all those guys have done such a great job bringing those guys together, and they really play well together. I think whenever you look at good defenses, like just the one that we faced yesterday in the Niners, that have been consistently a very good football team and a very, very good defense, and you see those guys fit off of each other. And I think that especially when you're starting to call some pressures and things like that, everybody has to have their gap integrity. And I think there were a lot of good instances of that, especially when you're playing a very good run team. Because run offenses are always looking to try to get you out of a gap. And those guys really stuffed all those gaps. So I thought they did a really good job just playing together.
Players in the locker room afterward talked about how you emphasize building relationships and how they've learned to trust each other and stick together, in your words too, in that game. Was there a point where you tell guys just to go make plays? Like it looked like with Russ at the end too. It was like at some point just go make a play. Is that part of that trust factor you're building with players?
Yeah, I mean, you never want guys to be robots. You want them to go out there and play within the system. Defense is doing a great job doing that. The offense, I think at times, sometimes they want to press. They want a play to happen. And I think that you just have to continually live within the system and understand that's going to happen. I think you just kind of looking at that last drive, there were some things that weren't there. And then trust that it's not there and make a play. But that's part of the system. You want those guys to feel comfortable in doing that. And there were a couple great scramble drills. A couple times Russell took off and made big plays. And that's what we're looking for. And it's not just a perfect progression, a perfect play. We can't get everybody open all the time. So when that happens, that's when those things get created. And that's what happened.
Nathaniel, sort of building on that, where do you think you're at 3 games in terms of sort of forging an identity offensively? I mean, are you starting to, even if you haven't seen a big offensive explosion, like sort of find things you can hang your hat on, say, this is who we are offensively?
Yeah, I think that we have things that we have a foundation that we're trying to accomplish. I think that some of those things show up. When you play different defenses, there are certain things that you can do and certain things you can't do. So I think that we had to go a little bit off last week, or yesterday, I guess, versus the Niners because of how they play their defensive front and their coverages. But there's definitely things that we want to have a staple of what we do, and the guys believe in that stuff. We just have to continually execute it better. The small things, we got to make those easy plays when those things are there. And I think as we do that, we'll be more efficient.
Coach, the defense came up with 2 huge plays there at the end of the game with the interception and the fumble to end the game. How impressed have you been with the defense's ability to close out a game? And then also, how big was it that the crowd was behind their backs as well?
Yeah, the defense with the turnovers, I mean, that's what we're always emphasizing, the ball, and that's so imperative. And especially in those situations, what was even better was they get the turnover, then we come out, and we ended up having to run the ball to try to eat some time on the clock and some timeouts, and they went right back out there. They were excited to go back out there, and that excitement stems from the crowd. I mean, that crowd was absolutely electric. I mean, I don't think anybody could ever express, unless you're on the sideline and you're trying to hear yourself think and you can't, how important that is and how much of an advantage that gives us as a football team. I mean, they are truly part of our team when we're out there. I mean, the juice that the defense got to be able to make those plays, the stress it puts on the opposing team. I mean, it was incredible. I mean, that just how that whole thing played out, it was great to see across the board.
Nate, through 3 games, we've seen you guys try to get the tight ends involved. Just seems like it's not working so far, other than obviously the Sauber touchdown. How do you maybe plan to get those guys more involved, and specifically Alberto?
Yeah, I think all those guys bring different attributes. That's the cool thing about them. Every guy that goes in there can do some things a little bit different, whether it's the pass game, blocking, pass protection, run game, all those things. And for us, it's just about trying to take what the defense is going to give us with those guys. Sometimes there's great matchups, sometimes there's not great matchups. So you want to be sure that you're capitalizing on whatever you can find that week within your preparation. So we want to involve everybody. We don't want it just to be about the tight ends. We want it to be about the running backs, tight ends, and wide receivers and make them have to cover everybody. But you never know when they'll explode next.
Now you talked a little bit about Jerry Rosberg after the game, but when you went back and looked at it, how impressed were you with kind of how quickly you guys were able to mesh, given how condensed that time window was?
Yeah, I thought everybody, just the whole staff, everybody I thought worked so well together. We knew that we had something, especially myself, that I had to address. And then being able to get Jerry in there and work with the people that we had. We had a nice group up top that was able to get the information quickly and efficiently to me, which made me make a quick decision instead of being emotional for if something might have happened that I was frustrated with or excited about. It made me just kind of lock in and hear the information and make the best decision. So, I appreciate all those guys and all the extra work we put in this past week to get that process done the right way.
Nathaniel, for Melvin Gordon, how important was that touchdown, especially after the 2 fumbles earlier and then he had the fumble back in week 1? And when a running back is struggling like that, how do you as coaches try to kind of get him out of that and get him kind of in the best headspace?
Yeah, I thought that touchdown was important for all of us. I mean, we were 1 for 1 in the red zone, which was great to see. The guys, I think, really stepped up to the challenge versus a really good defense and got the ball in the end zone. For any guy, whenever things like that are happening, sometimes they press. Sometimes they want to try to do more. They want to make a play. And that happens. And I think that you just have to continually talk to them, make sure that they understand that the most important thing is the ball. And we can't put it on the ground. It's that simple. Nobody can, because that's the number 1 stat that you win and lose football games with. So we just have to keep talking about that and make sure that we're not pressing and we're just living within the system. And, he got a lot of good runs and had some good plays, and we just got to keep that as the main thing.
Coach, obviously we know about you and Coach Everett's relationship going back to college and the 1 year y'all worked together. When you hired him, did you expect that he would be maybe as dialed in this quickly and that it would go this well through his first 3 games calling the defense for the first time?
Without a doubt. I mean, that's a guy that I've known for a long time. I know the kind of person he is. I know the people he's been with. I mean, he's been waiting for this opportunity for years, and to be able to see him go out there and execute at a high level has been great to see, and something that I just never had a doubt of.
During the offseason, you emphasized with Russell, you don't want him to go off script, you don't want him to get hit, but he seemed to be his most effective in the 4th quarter when he was going off script. And because the offense has been struggling at times, are you willing to loosen the reins on him a little bit to go a little bit more off script?
I think we'd have to define what off script is. I think what off script is when you have a progression and you don't do that progression. I think that when a play's called and you go through your progression and then it's all covered and then you start making it happen, that's part of the script. So I would say I think that last night we saw him be part of the script, and it just happened that he used his legs. So I thought he was spectacular, and I would never hold him back from doing anything that he might see. I mean, he's out there, he's playing. I mean, he had a couple brilliant checks for big plays down the field that we've talked about and we've done, and that, again, that's part of it, is that as we learn each other, as we learn the system, we know when the play is called, because we call it for something very specific, and if we don't get that, we want to get to something that's even better. I think that he saw a couple of those things and made some great plays and used his feet when things weren't there.
Does he seem apprehensive to run at times, to stretch it to a first down instead of passing the ball like he did in a 3rd and 3, and he threw the ball to Sutton on a really difficult angle?
Yeah, I mean, when you're playing the game, I mean, I've never played quarterback. And I know when there's a lot of really good football players rushing me, I know I would probably be a little bit freaked out myself. But I think that, for him, I thought he stayed under composure. And when he saw somebody flash, he took it. And when he didn't see somebody, he ran around. And then when he had an opportunity for a scramble drill, he made that. So, again, it's a hard position to play. And I think that, last night there were a couple times that he did some really great things. And then, we just got to continually take the easy things. When we get some of those easy ones, we got to convert on those, and then I think that'll help us out a lot more. Yeah, he's doing good right now, last I heard.
And then, just in general, has it been hard to sort of go through the scrutiny about decision-making and the rest of it this early on in your head coaching career? Is it kind of a test of accountability of sorts?
Nobody ever told me this was going to be easy. And I think that, taking this job, you knew there were going to be some ups and downs. It was going to be a roller coaster. And I think that's something that I've embraced. And I think that for me, it's just about continually improving every day at whatever it is. As a person, as a coach, father, husband, you name it. I always want to get better at everything that I do. And, there's always going to be scrutiny. Whether you lose, whether you win, whether you tie. There's always going to be something that people are going to say you can do better. And I'm going to do everything I can to continually get better.
Last night, Nate, is a game that a lot of guys in that locker room had lost in the past before you got here. You could see some of that relief in them. How does that carry over as you get on the road again and a short week after that? You've got division game coming up that's going to be on.
Yeah, I think it all starts with the relationships that you build as a team. You need to start as a team first. All the football stuff that we do, those things are easily correctable. When you put it on the tape and you say you should have run here, or you should have thrown the ball here, you should have blocked that guy, or you should have fit in that gap, those things are very, black and white, very simple to see. But to be able to create a team, guys that play for each other, is something special. And I think that there was a lot of that you saw yesterday. I mean, it was unbelievable the couple times. I mean, just the defense supporting the offense coming through at the end. Like those things that's why you do this profession, because everybody runs plays, everybody calls defenses. But to see guys unite together through anything is what makes really great teams. And now we have so much improvement we need to do. I mean, offense, defense, special teams, we can get better, and we all know that. But when you play for each other, when you pick a guy up, when you defend him, when you block for him, just that little extra, those are the things that you get those extra inches.
As Nathaniel is arguably labeled an elite quarterback coming into this year, and then last time we saw him pretty much stop throwing his way in the second half. How would you evaluate his first 3 games?
I probably wouldn't throw his way either. He's first and foremost, I mean, as a person, this guy's special. And I think that's what makes him such a great player up to this point. And, he's just going to continually get better. But just his natural athletic ability, his ability to not panic is huge. And, when you take this amazing athlete and then you take this guy that's so humble and a guy that wants to be coached and wants to be great, I think that's when you see him continually grow and get better.
Thank you very much.
All right, y'all. Thank you.